What's up, guys? I'm gonna make a quick review of the movie called No Safe Spaces. Premiered last year, got 99% review audience from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. It was the #1 documentary last year, and deservedly so. It's that good of a film. I'm gonna give you give you some details of what the movie's about without giving out too much, and then basically give you why do I think it's such a great film and why does it even connect to our world today, because it does. I mean, and you'll see in a minute. So before I get into that, just please make sure to follow me on MM Talk. I'm trying to create that platform, and the only reason I'm bringing up MM Talk in this conversation is because that's what that platform that I designed with my co-host and best friend Jaime is basically. It was one of the reasons why I created that platform. Excuse me. From events that I saw in this film and what it's being given to people today, and what do we have to fight for today? Because we're in a fight. We're in a fight for free speech, and not only free speech, but free speech and factual speech. So that's basically what that platform is. So if you haven't followed me on MM Talk Media, yes, I know I focus on the Latino community, but I do also bring just general information as anywhere. So please, if you guys haven't, please follow me there and give us a like. We're growing really well on Instagram, so that's probably going to be our primary platform, but we also have here on Facebook and also on YouTube. And so that's our main channel. So beside all that, let's get to what the film's about. Film is very simple. Free speech at the university is being attacked, and that is because there's a new enemy to free speech. If you're a conservative, you're automatically going to say it's liberals, and I'm going to tell you right now that's not the case. It's more of the progressive left. Okay, that's who the enemy to free speech is, and I concur 100% on this assessment. Liberals, you may disagree with them, right, as to how they want to make things better, but they're at least willing with you. They're willing to have intellectual conversation with you. The new whatever progressive, whatever this thing is coming out of the left, they don't even want to do that. Okay, they don't even want to hear what you have to say. And especially if you come out as a conservative, or especially if you come out as a Republican, they don't even want to talk to you. Okay, and this is at the university level, at the place where free thought was basically accepted as a universal concept. That you can come from whatever. How do I put this? Whatever your views and whatever your thought process was on the world and what you believed in, you can come to the university and basically speak your mind. That's no longer the case. Universities across the United States now have these things called safe spaces. Okay, since the movie, there has been some changes, right? But the premise was these safe spaces allow people to now what they say and now in our world get triggered by thought, right? So your feelings don't get hurt, and that's what these centers were for. So everybody that thinks like you can just go there. Everybody will agree with you, and that's it, right? But these are the same people, right, that when you have other people with opposing views come to speak to the universities, are creating the riots, right? Are getting people fired, right? And basically are not allowing for free thought and free speech to excel at the university. And that is the main premise of the film. And so you have Dennis Prager and Adam Carolla, right? As soon as you hear Dennis Prager, you'll be like, oh, it's Dennis Prager. I mean, he was conservative. Why are we listening to him? No. Okay. Those are and then Adam Carolla, right, who was the comedian and so forth. #1 podcast downloaded in the world, right? But two opposing upbringings, right? And they say, well, look, we may disagree on fundamental things, but we can agree on free speech. And it's just not them two. They bring a lot of people in this film. They have Cornel West, right? They have Van Jones. They have, I forget his name, but he's from the Rubin Report. Forget his first name. He's there. They have Tim Allen. They have Dershowitz. I think it's Alan Dershowitz. They have him there. So you had liberal, conservative, and they all come to say one thing, that the liberals ourselves, we're not the issue. And it's actually those people on the left that are an issue. Those are the people that want to censor thought. Those are the people that want to have intellectual thought. Those are the people that just want to destroy everything in the name of diversity and in the name of acceptance, right? And they say that's a problem, because these people are not willing to expose themselves or to be challenged, and that will create weak people. Adam Carolla had a great metaphor when he talks about how astronauts in space, right, they start losing their muscle mass, right? And that he compares that to the people in these safe spaces, that they're not willing to go out of their comfort zone and be exposed to different types of thought that can challenge their own beliefs and or maybe, enhance them a little bit. You say, if you're not willing to become a better person by being challenged, then you have a problem. Van Jones said the same thing. Look, I am not for you getting attacked just because of who you are at university. If that happens to you, I'll come out and speak against that, no problem. But if you're telling me that you are basically hurt because somebody didn't think the way you are, didn't think the way that you think, then you're not getting the support from me. That's Van Jones, CNN. Bill Maher said the same thing. I forgot that clips of Bill Maher on this movie. When you lose Bill Maher in that argument, I think we all can agree that we have a point, right? And that's bad, because I saw it beginning when I was at the university myself. Classes like gender studies, American culture. It wasn't even American history. Now it's American culture. Gender studies, and I forget. It was too many, but it was those capstone classes you had to take from the humanities department in order for you to graduate. All these classes, right? And apparently those classes are being like feminist studies and lesbian gay studies and stuff like that. That's being added to universities. It's not even about civic studies or how to debate and how to have free thought. It's basically, even classrooms are becoming safe spaces. Like, for example, this young teacher was a left-leaning teacher. She was in the left, she leaned left, and she plays a clip of Jordan Peterson, right, in her classroom, and he's debating a transgender person. Her administration calls her, right, and says, why you play that clip in your classroom? You're going to hurt people's feelings. And she's like, well, I am exposing my students to what's in the real world. And that administration was more concerned about the kids, the students' feelings, than teaching them and getting them ready to see what's in the real world. And that's what Dennis Prager and Adam Carolla tried to show, and that's what they're trying to fight against, because that is the soul of America. If you can have free speech in America, then there's basically going to be no cradle of freedom in the world, because America is supposed to be about free speech and diverse speech, not censoring speech. And that is what this new left is doing, which brings me to why, though I say this is already happening in the real world. Like I said, I developed a platform to tell basically the Latino community, right, that you don't have to vote Democrat, that you don't have to be Democrat, that you don't have to vote Democrat. You do have a choice. And I'm not saying to necessarily vote Republican. I'm trying to tell the Latino community that you have a choice beyond being a liberal and being a Democrat, because you have values, right, that are more tied to the conservative movement. You just don't realize that because you're being told by the media, by Democrats, and by these new so-called progressives that you have to vote this way and you have to act this way to be considered Latino. And I said, you don't have to do that at all. Look, here's the real facts. Here's the real story. Here's the real argument. That's what I try to do with my platform. And it's funny when I come across, I get either shut down, which is what's going on in this movie. I get called a sellout, which is going on in this movie. Or like Joe Biden would point out, I am not of that particular race if you think differently. But that's in the real world. At the university level, I probably would have been thrown out of a social program. Like you'll see in the movie, there was this young lady who attends Berkeley that got thrown out of her social clubs for standing against a proposition that was being passed by her student senate. And the thing is, Look, I don't care where you lean, left or right, but can we at least have the discussion? I know where I stand because I'm in the choice. I'm trying to get you to understand that you have the choice. And by giving you that aspect of thought, I get called a sellout. I get called racist. And the worst thing and like I said, the worst thing you call me apparently, and like Larry Elder says, Republican, right? I get called a Republican for that because I said I want facts. I want facts before I make an argument. I want facts before I present you an argument, right? And I say, well, let's take a look at the whole picture, not just what's being given by somebody, right? And by that, we get called evil because this society is now being programmed through the media, mainly through the media, I should say, and now on social media platforms where they tell you where the restriction rules and community bylaws and so forth, that you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't present this, you can't present that. That's censorship and thought, and I get it. These are private platforms. I understand that, right? I understand that. They have the right to basically allow whatever content they want to put up. But that also, again, diminishes the spirit of the First Amendment and diminishes the spirit of true diversity, because diversity is not really... there's no point of diversity if the people who are advocating for diversity are not willing to accept diversity. See how that run around right there? But that's what basically is going on. Diversity doesn't equal decency, right? It doesn't, especially in today's world. Because if you were diverse to accept other people and other identities, you should be able to accept my point of views and my point of thoughts, and that's not being allowed. It's not allowed in CNN. It's not allowed in MSNBC. It's not allowed on CBS, ABC. 98% of almost 90. Oh no, is it 88% of all media is left wing? If I remember the stat correctly. And you wonder why they're winning the fight. When it comes to intellectual and free thought, and to why conservatives always pointed as evil. But also keep in mind who's coming out of the universities. These kids I just talked about. These kids who don't want to accept free thought, don't want to be challenged, don't want to especially be able to have an intellectual conversation with somebody of their opposing side. And sometimes I get sucked into this fight myself. I'm gonna plead guilty to that, because sometimes I do. Sometimes I just want to shut these people down, because I'm like, you're not even here to have intellectual thought. You're just here to bash me. You're just here to troll. So what's the point of that? We live in a world, folks, where we don't even want to talk anymore. We just want to argue. When I call people out on their nonsense, it's based on a matter of fact of degree. A lot of the times when I get called out, it's because you're just a Republican, you're just a conservative. And I'm like, okay, so what part of my argument does not make sense? What part of that I present to you is not true? We go back and forth. So there were times where, like I said, when I came out strong, it's like, yo, dude, you don't even want to talk. And I say, you know what, you're right. I just wanted to chew you out. But I would modify now my approaches when I talk to people, especially in the opposing side, to say, you know what, let's talk about it. Let's meet it in the middle. Let's see where can we agree on the subject matter. And that right there, folks, is the wonderful thing about thought process and how you develop clear and concise thought. That you're willing to take somebody that opposes you, just sit down, even if it's a Facebook thread that's going to be 100 comments long, but that entire thread is about clear thought and process, and basically it challenges what you believe, but you also challenge that person on what they believe, and then hopefully through some manner of thoughtful scheme you can reach to say, yeah, we can both agree with that, or you can just say, let's agree to disagree. But you spoke to somebody. It became clear. It was not censored. That is what's missing in today's world. That is what's missing in today's world. And it's sad. And it's sad. And that's what I'm fighting for on my platform. So if you haven't followed me, like I said, you go follow me on MM Talk Media. And you could just leave your comments, leave your thoughts and process. I'm working to get the actual podcast page up. We're doing YouTube videos, but I want to get the real audio going up. And honestly, the best thing you can do in this point of the world, if you feel that you have been told what to do, then speak out against it, or speak out on it. Like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? Are these people really evil, or am I just going along with the herd? So that's what my platform's about. That's what I want to relate to you guys, that you don't have to do what they've been telling you to do. You don't even have to listen to me. I'm just giving you my opinion. This is all my opinion. But I'm speaking out against it. I'm doing something about it. People say, oh, if you don't like it, do it. Then do something about it. What are you doing? We have to stop being dogmatic and start accepting different points of view to make better arguments. And that's where I think we need to turn back to. Yeah, you can start where you're at, right? And you can defend where you're at, right? And you can you can just stay there, and that's fine. You can also do all that and listen to the other side, and then maybe convince each other that, there's good things you have and there's good things I have. How do we make the world better? And that's found in the center. Right? And if that side is evil, right, and then if that side is just bad, I'd be like, hey man, look, I don't agree with you, but let me tell you why. You don't have to agree with me. And that person can say, oh yeah, you make a good point, and you can probably convince them to turn to you, right? But just give them the facts. Don't try to talk people down. Don't try to censor people. That's gonna benefit nobody in the long run. And that's what we got to fight today as American citizens. That's what we got to fight for today, for the right to free speech. Free speech as is intended to mean that it's diverse thought. It's not just the one side overtaking the other. To create understanding, you have to look at all aspects, right? And that doesn't mean you have to accept the other side. That just means you just to understand them and to have a conversation with them. Maybe you have to learn what they say. That's basically what I was trying to say. Maybe you have to learn what they say or what they believe in for you to have a decent conversation. But you believe this, but here's maybe an example as to why I don't. And here's examples of how it's been implemented in the real world, right? Maybe then you can all have clear thought. But what we have today in this world, nah. It's not even close. It's not even close, but we can start. We can start by speaking out our free thoughts. We can start by saying, that's wrong, he's wrong, she's wrong, right? And here's why. And if you don't like it, well, too bad. But you shouldn't be fired from your job. You shouldn't be prosecuted by your peers. And you should be able to free to whatever say the heck you want. You can sound like an idiot, but at least you're a free idiot. And that's where I end this movie review. Thanks for watching, guys.